A new New Testament with an imposing title has just been released. It is called A New New Testament, a Bible for the 21st century combining traditional and newly discovered text. A 19-member council, which included scholars and religious leaders from Episcopal, Roman Catholic, United Methodist, United Church of Christ, and Lutheran Christian denominations, along with 2 rabbis and an expert in Eastern religions and yoga, chose the additional texts that make up the New New Testament, published under the name of one author, Hal Taussig, the council's chair. The newest version contains 10 extra texts, which include works that were previously rejected by the church as apocrypha, or not genuine testimony. Not all biblical scholars approve of the additions that make up the new version. According to Timothy Paul Jones, a professor of leadership at Southern Baptist Theological Seminary, the additions don't add real context to the original New Testament. Jones maintains that these texts that Taussig adds come from a different time period than any New Testament document, and they represent a fundamentally different worldview. However, Taussig thinks that the new material elucidates the New Testament and expands it. He also used the preface to the New Testament to point out that portions of the New Testament are offensive and outmoded. According to a 2012 Gallup survey, the United States is a remarkably religiously diverse nation, and of the 189 metropolitan areas surveyed, the most religious is Provo-Orem in Utah. Although the top religious cities tend to be in the southern United States, cities like Provo, Ogden, Clearfield in Utah, where 77% of its residents were classified as very religious, and Holland Grand Haven, Michigan, where 55% of its residents were classified as very religious, are the exception. These numbers are not particularly surprising for cities in the United States, a country where, according to the 2012 Gallup survey, 40% of Americans are very religious. However, very few areas match the 40% national average. In fact, there is a 60 percentage point range between the most and least religious cities. The least religious cities, where only 17% of residents were classified as very religious, are Boulder, Colorado, and Burlington, Vermont, which is the least religious state at 19%. The results of this 2012 survey show that much of the religious diversity is geographically based. Residents in some areas and cities, namely those in the South and in Utah, are 2 or 3 times as likely to be very religious as those living in cities in the Northeast, the Northwest, and other Western locations.
Would you like to borrow something of mine? I thought back to the evening before and remembered the shimmering top that seemed to have been designed to contour a playmate, and I saw the dress she was wearing as she stood before me now, the crepe burrito wrapper of a dress that somehow seemed a shade less decent than nakedness. These were the kinds of clothes she wore, and here she was asking me if I wanted to borrow something of hers. Absolutely, I said. Yes, absolutely. What have you got?